Well, that's it for our Legend of Zelda episode. Thank you very much for watching. Of course, if you... What? What do you mean you forgot to press record? You mean you missed the whole episode? No worries. I've got the magical Ocarina here. I'm just gonna play the Song of Time. We'll go back in time a little bit, and we'll remember to press record. Is it just me, or is there something strange about that cloud over Death Mountain? Hello everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of The Toy Shelf. I'm your host, Mitch Live, and I collect action figures. And today's episode is all about... Oh wait, off-camera mic, did you remember to hit record? Okay then, today is going to focus on a toy line from one of my favorite video games, The Legend of Zelda.
Hey, listen!
This collection is from the World of Nintendo toy line. Now, I'm not a very big gamer. In fact, I pretty much beat the same 3 video games over and over and over again, and one of those video games is Nintendo 64's The Ocarina of Time. But nonetheless, even though I don't play a lot of video games, you will find me hitting up video game stores, EB game stores all around, looking for pieces from the World of Nintendo. The World of Nintendo features figures from various Nintendo video games, including Super Mario and The Legend of Zelda. None of that Link's Awakening or Wind Waker crap, whatever. All those childish looking animated things, no. Even though Nintendo 64 graphics by today's standards are very boxy and childish looking, you know, at the time it was a little better. Personally for me, I just can't get into those more childish looking graphics, so I never played any of the handheld device games. I am a main console kind of guy. Monster! Blasphemer! Pretender! I know. Oh well. So naturally, one would guess that Link would be the first character that I would get from the series. Well, yes and no.
Listen!
So the first figure I got from the series is actually Dark Link. Now this was one of those times where I was not out shopping for toys. I didn't even know they made this figure. I came across and I was like, that is a must-have. A must-have is one of those figures that regardless of what's going on, what I'm out doing, or how much money is in my pocket, that just once I see, I need to possess that toy. I need it. It needs to be mine. It's all mine. So just simply a must-have figure. He's Dark Link. Anyway, most of my collections, they tend to start with a must-have, and this was the one that started my Zelda collection. After I start a collection, I look up the manufacturer and I look up all the toys that they make from that line to sort of decide which ones I need for my collection. And this collection is very incomplete because I don't actually have the original Ocarina of Time Link. Oh, what? I know. The reason is because, like I said, I am a frugal toy collector, and I just never found that great deal on the original Ocarina of Time Link. I've seen them online for a little bit more money than I want to pay, and always when I buy a figure online, I end up finding him for much cheaper at a toy show in the near future. So I don't do it unless I know that that figure absolutely isn't available anywhere else. I haven't given up hope for original Link just yet. I do have Goron Tunic Link. So Goron Tunic Link, it's of course his red flame retardant tunic that allows him to enter Death Mountain and face the dreaded Volvangia.
Hey!
Yes, Navi, I hear you. So anyway, at the end of the game, spoiler alert, after Link seals Ganondorf into the Sacred Realm, he goes off in search of his lovable but very, 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 very annoying fairy friend, Navi. He does not end up finding Navi, but what he does end up encountering is a Skull Kid who has unleashed a powerful and evil deity known as Majora. So Majora and Dark Link are two of the most interesting villains in the whole franchise to me, because every other game pretty much has a villain that's motivations are the same. They're hell-bent on conquering the world and gaining ultimate power, having people worship them. These two don't seem to fall into that category because Dark Link is just sort of the yin to Link's yang, if you will. He's just the naturally opposing force. And Majora here, he's just nuts. hell-bent on the destruction of all things.
Look!
Of course, Majora is the deity that embodies Majora's Mask, this badass-looking mask that the Skull Kid is wearing. A theme throughout many Zelda games, especially in Majora's Mask, is, of course, masks. So these 3 masks are the main masks of power that you have to collect throughout the game. Deku Link here is the result of Link putting on the Deku mask. All of these masks actually house the souls of fallen warriors that embody Link and give him special abilities of that race, which allows him to accomplish tasks that would otherwise be impossible for Link. So these masks are actually from a different toy line, even though I think they look very much like they would go with this toy line. They are actually from a manufacturer called Bandai. Now, Bandai makes a bunch of really, really high quality anime figures. The only thing higher than their quality are their prices. So I can't really afford to collect a lot of Bandai figures, but this I got a great deal on. And I didn't have a Kid Link or a depiction of Navi. So this kind of checks off both of those, but it really was his accessories that sold me, these masks and this iconic red potion that he comes with. So cool, must have.
Hello! Watch out!
While we're looking at pieces from outside the actual collection, on this shelf I also keep my Midna Amiibo here. Midna is, of course, riding Wolf Link from the Twilight Princess. Midna is a great character, one of my favorite characters, one of my favorite Zelda games. They don't actually make this version of Midna, the world of Nintendo, that is. They do make Midna in her true form, but this is, of course, my favorite depiction of Midna. She's riding Wolf Link just like she does in the game. Now, on paper, that seems like a ridiculous concept, doesn't it? Let's make a Zelda game, but let's make it so for half the game, Link is a wolf, and he can't use his sword or his shield. But somehow it worked. And while that game may have been lacking in other areas, I found the storyline, the gameplay, and the graphics all pretty good. Also, surprisingly, missing from the series is what I think is an accurate depiction of Princess Zelda. Now, I do have a Princess Zelda here, but I feel like this cannot be the Ocarina of Time Zelda, mostly because her hair just doesn't seem blonde enough to me. Zelda is blonde. Clearly, she's a blonde. She's a little too brunette here. And when you compare her to Sheik, so Sheik is, of course, Zelda in her disguise from the Ocarina of Time. And if you look at the color, this is the blonde that we would expect Zelda to be.
Hey! Listen!
Damn it, Navi, I heard you the first 50 times! And finally, the last piece I have to show you from this collection is Link as seen in the Breath of the Wild. Now, Breath of the Wild is the most badass game to come out since the Ocarina of Time. But you haven't even played! I know. But there isn't even a... I don't care. But what about the... Oh well.
Hey! Listen! Hey!
Anyways, so this Link comes with his little smartphone. I mean, Sheikah Slate, the ancient bow, the quiver of ancient arrows, and this loose ancient arrow. And that is my Zelda collection. Of course, talking about my Zelda collection, I can't neglect to show you my favorite accessories, the life-size ones. Link was my very first cosplay ever, so I have rocked the old Hylian shield and Master Sword many, many times. Hence, I don't know if you can tell the many scuffs and whatnot on the sword, but I mean, what's a good sword and shield if it's not a little battle-torn, am I right? Yeah, 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 ha, yeah, skank, ha, and what Ocarina of Time cosplay would be complete without the Ocarina of Time? The Ocarina of Time. Dun-dun-dun-dun. Ocarinas and music in general have always played a huge role in unlocking the mysteries of Hyrule, and those other places that aren't Hyrule. And some of the songs from the Ocarina of Time have become just as iconic with Zelda as the main theme itself. Well, that is it for the Legend of Zelda episode. Of course, if you liked these figures, as always, there will be links in the description where you can find your own. Tell us in the comments about what your favorite Zelda video game is. Maybe share some of your theories on what the new Breath of the Wild sequel will entail. And please hit that like and subscribe button for more great content like this. Thanks for joining me on the Toy Shelf today, and remember, you're never too old to play with toys.